this is Speierg coming at you with yet another audio commentary on the members audio commentary forums for WCR Replays. Hey, maybe some of you guys are new to this particular part of the site, and if that is the case, then man, I'm excited to have you visiting and checking out this commentary, and I hope you'll check out the commentaries of a lot of the other commentators here. They all do a really great job, and yeah, they do it out of the kindness of their heart. So go check out their commentaries, and I hope you can learn a lot and enjoy them quite a bit. Hey, you want to get this thing paused at the 15-second mark, and I'm kind of loading it up myself right now and about to get it paused. And I'm going to say a few things before we get this game started, so bear with me here at the outset, because I want to set this up a little bit. You know, I hear people all the time talking about, guys, I'm getting sick and tired of Archmage, Mountain King, Riflecaster, blah, blah, blah. I want to try something a little different as a human player. Well, that's what you're going to see here in this strategy. You're going to see something that's really quite a bit different, as a matter of fact. This is a great replay, by the way. Shriek, who's probably known for doing some things a little bit unorthodox, definitely that is the case in this replay, and he adds in a couple of things. His item usage in this game is really great. He does get a couple of nice drops, but the things that he buys and makes use of, he does a great job here. And let me just set this up. That this is a Mountain King first approach, and it's a solo Mountain King approach to beating undead. Bear with me a couple of times as we pause, but anyhow, hopefully by now you've got it all queued up to the 15-second mark, and we're going to get this thing unpaused. So here we go. In 3, 2, 1, unpause. All right. Right off the bat, you see that Shriek is doing something different. You may not know what it is yet, if I hadn't already told you that he's going with the MK first, but you see he's getting barracks first here, followed by farm, and then he's going to get a late altar. Very unusual for human, not that dissimilar from what you might see other races do, where they are going to get that late altar build, or even if someone wanted to be, you know, kind of doing a tavern hero build, you might go for a late altar. So you might be looking at this and initially thinking, he's going to get a tavern hero, but no, here's what he does. He gets the barracks first, and it makes a lot of sense, because he's going with the Mountain King. The Mountain King does not have the water elemental support that the Archmage has. So what do? You adjust your build, you build the barracks first. That way you're going to have a few more footmen. I think you'll have at least 3 footmen, plus you're going to have some militia to help out with the early creeping, and that will kind of make up for what you don't have in the water elemental support. You're also going to see that he's going to use that one peasant to build all of his first 3 farms here, and I think the main reasoning there is that's going to free up a few more peasants to maybe be ready to be called to militia, which is he's going to use the militia pretty intensely early on in this game. So you'll see again another thing that's a little bit unusual here. He does scout that close position with a militia, but then he brings that right back to his base, and again, this is just adapting to a different playstyle. He does this very well. Rather than sending that militia to a pretty certain death, once the Death Knight finds him, that thing's not going to make it back to the base, he says, well, I've got these extra footmen just waiting for my Mountain King to pop out, so why don't I send them up, and I'll scout with them. I'll find out exactly where my opponent is, and I'll be able to get those footmen, most likely, back home alive, whereas the peasant, who would have turned into a peasant instead of being militia by the time he got up there, would have certainly died. So you see this works out fairly well for him. He does see where his opponent is, and then the Death Knight is on its way, and so he starts to bring those footmen back, and he's now got 3 footmen, he's got a militia, and his Mountain King is about 3/4 of the way done now, and he's continuing to pump footmen, so now he's got 4 footmen out, along with that militia, and you know what? He's able to do a little bit of damage to that Death Knight, surprisingly. About 100 hit points worth of damage before his Mountain King even pops out. Now, let me pause this for just a second here, if you would bear with me just momentarily. Pausing at 3, 2, 1, pause. I'm at 255 right now. And I just want to say a couple of things, just very quickly at the outset. I know the traditional opening for human is Archmage, and I'm not going to argue the point here that at high levels of play, maybe you do have to go Archmage to win. Maybe that is true most of the time. But you know, if you're playing on ladder and you're not a level 50-something, and chances are you're not. If you're listening to this commentary, you're probably not, since I don't think any level 50 people are going to be listening to me. But here's the deal. You have an opportunity to do something a little different, and when you vary from the standard human approach, and you know what, let's be honest, as human players, we are probably the most cookie-cutter race of any. And we're kind of locked into it in some ways, but anyways, what I'm saying is if you vary it up, if you mix it up a little bit, you do something different, you're going to catch some people off guard. And they're probably going to be going with a more standard approach to here's how you beat human. And you know, if you come after them with a little bit of a curveball, I think you're going to find that you might get some good results. So anyway, getting back to this comparison of the Mountain King and the Archmage, I said earlier, the Archmage comes out with 450 hit points. He's kind of a wuss. The Mountain King rolls out of the gate at level 1 with 700 hit points. Think of it this way. Don't think of it as a mere 250 hit point difference. Think of it like this. It's 55% more HP on the Mountain King. So it's like having 1.5 Archmages in terms of HP, in terms of not getting nuked, in terms of him coming after you with ghouls and not dying or being in red health very quickly. Your Mountain King can take some abuse. He's got 1.5 of the Archmage's hit points. That's a big difference. Now, the other thing that people are going to say is, well, you need that brilliance or a support for your Mountain King, and you do. That's very helpful, obviously. That way you can bolt at will. But you know what? You're going to see a very liberal use of items from the human shop in this game, and I really don't think it works out that badly, because in this case, you're trying to end the game quickly. Over the course of a longer game, maybe all that gold that you spend on potions, maybe that adds up and it gives you a really big disadvantage. But in this particular case, we're talking about a whole different style of play, and I think you're going to find that it works out here fairly well. So we're going to unpause now. I think I've caught up on all the comments I wanted to add there, so let's unpause in 3, 2, 1, unpause. Now you're going to see Shriek is going to waste a Stormbolt here in a minute, and here's what I mean by that. The Mountain King comes out and he's got, 225 mana right out of the gate. That's enough for exactly 3 Stormbolts. You want to use them wisely. If it's at all possible, you really want to bolt and surround the Death Knight. And I got to believe this was kind of a misclick here. He even says oops there, because he really can't do any damage here. But watch what happens. The Death Knight's going to come in and he's going to see, geez, 5 militia and a whole bunch of footmen already, 6 of them I think. And, you know, he says, alright, I'm out. That's really not worth even trying to harass, because I'm just going to get bolted and surrounded, and then I'm going to have to either die or use a 350 gold TP. Neither of those options are very appealing. But watch what Shriek does here. He sends his 5 militia, or his peasants, back to his base, and immediately militias them again, and heads up to do what basically is as fast, or as close rather, to a fast expo as you'll ever see on Turtle Rock. And again, this is unexpected. You just don't plan on someone fast expoing on Turtle Rock, not this early. So this is kind of an aggressive move here, but Shriek thinks, you know, he's seen my Mountain King, he sees that I've got a critical amount of footies already. He's probably going to leave me alone for a little while because he doesn't want to lose his Death Knight. So let's take advantage of that small window of opportunity. Let's A, creep this out and get my Mountain King up to about 2.5, and let's throw up an expansion. But before he does that, here comes the Arcane Vault. This is going to be a critical component of this strategy, as you will see him use repeatedly Clarity Potions and Scrolls of Regeneration, both of which are critically important to this kind of a game. So, what you're going to see here is he's going to heal up, and he's going to head straight for his opponent's base while he's putting up his expansion. Why do you do that? Pretty obvious. You want to keep your opponent occupied while your expansion is going up. So you're going to see Shriek's going to be over here trying to creep the Goblin Merchant, and the timing is going to work out pretty well for Shriek. In fact, you're going to see one of Bro's Fiends is going to get webbed, and then he's going to end up losing him because he's going to hit attack move for his Fiend control group, and the Fiend that got webbed is going to start attacking these creeps again and is going to get killed by the creeps because he's going to just attack the the thing closest to him, which, because he was ensnared, ends up being these creeps. So he's going to lose that creep. Boom, there he goes. But in the meantime, Shriek has taken down one of the ziggurats, has bolted and surrounded the Death Knight and forced to teleport. So he's done a lot of damage here already. Hasn't lost any footmen to this point. He's doing great. He continued to be aggressive at this point. And this is kind of nice for the humans. You can be aggressive for a change. What a breath of fresh air. I mean, this is great. This is kind of fun. Now he comes close to losing that one footman, but he's able to stave that off. And now watch this. He bolts the Fiend, but instead of trying to surround the Fiend, he tries to surround the Death Knight, and he does so successfully. Great move, and he almost gets away with it, except one of his footmen dies before he's able to kill that Death Knight. The Death Knight, it gets bolted, is down to about 40 HP, down as low as almost 30 HP, but he couldn't quite kill him, and now Shriek's beginning to realize, you know, I can't kill the Fiends, because the Death Knight's just going to coil them back to full health, so that's kind of pointless to even try. My footmen are taking a lot of damage here. Let's get out of here before I lose too much. And he bolts the Death Knight one more time, just to kind of keep him occupied, to kind of keep him on the defensive. And now he decides, okay, it's time to get out of here. I've done my share of damage, but it's time to go. His Mountain King is, you know, getting low on mana again, and he had that potion. I don't know if you saw that, but he had a greater mana potion there, which enabled him to stay up there and bolt several times. And that was really good. That was a good drop for him, because now the Death Knight has to play a little bit more defensively, and so now his expansion's up. I mean, that was all it took. He had to be a little aggressive there, and now he's going to come back, and he's going to buy 2 regen scrolls and 2 clarity potions, and